really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
And with that introduction, let's mosey on over here. So what does that have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything. Because Charlton Heston was right. The House impeaches Trump over Ukraine dealings as Pelosi floats holding up the Senate trial. They did it. They really did it. Without any Republican support, the House on Wednesday night voted to impeach President Trump for abuse of power. Pardon the expression, but whatever that means. And obstruction of Congress. That's a joke, because it's not an obstruction of Congress because it didn't go to the courts first, and they know that. Related to his dealings with the Ukraine, making Trump the third American president ever to be impeached. For those keeping track, it was Andrew Johnson in the 1860s. Then it was Nixon didn't get impeached. He got close to it. Then you flash forward, and that was 1974. Then you flash forward, it was 75, 74, 75. Then you go to Bill Clinton in the 90s, end of the 90s, and now Trump. So you can see the clock is going faster and faster as we keep changing the rules. As was pointed out the other day, the list of crimes that could have been impeached before Trump, my president's, is enormous. You had this Anti-Sedition Act of John Adams. You had the Louisiana Purchase, which was done without Congress by third president, Thomas Jefferson. And then you had Abraham Lincoln's elimination of habeas corpus. You had his elimination of the freedom of speech, and he was locking up news reporters. I do like Lincoln, and I like a lot of what he did, but if you really know what Lincoln actually did, it's wow. He got rid of habeas corpus. He got rid of the ability for reporters to report the news. Talk about fake news. No. Jailed news, baby. Anyways, and Fast and Furious for Obama. Benghazi for Obama. And over and over and over, we've had these things that have occurred that were like beyond fishy, way beyond fishy, and we let them go because we decided as Americans that we would let the voters choose to do that, because the president's only in there for 4 years. And now we've rejected that. Now we've rejected it with the completely ambiguous abuse of power and the false obstruction of Congress. Last Wednesday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat from California, floated the possibility that the House would not send the articles of impeachment to the Senate. What is she doing? No Republican Speaker of the House has ever come close to acting like any of the Democrat speakers of the House. And I don't know if that's for good or bad, because you would say on the one side, well, it's good because look at what the Democrats do when they have it. But what about the bad? They're never punished. They're never punished. Pelosi didn't get pushed out from Speaker of the House because of the things that she did. She got pushed out because Trump came in and brought with him coattails that nobody knew would exist. But time and time again, they don't get punished. It's no different than the media in the 21st century. Of those who are aware of what was in the Horowitz report, which I'm guessing my viewers have a grander idea than most. And if you don't, please do feel free to look it up, because the networks didn't cover it. Where the Horowitz report exposed the enormous amounts of 17 errors. They weren't errors. Some of them were, but they falsified facts. That's not an error. That's falsification. And I watched Richard Jewell movie last night. It's impossible to watch that movie without noticing, well, the FBI hasn't learned a single thing. They completely railroaded him. They knew it from almost the beginning, and they didn't care. So Pelosi says, we'll make a decision as we go along, Pelosi told reporters, adding that we'll see what the process will be on the Senate side. So now she thinks she's the Speaker of not just the House, but the Speaker of the Senate as well. And she's complaining about Trump's abuse of power. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we set out to deceive. We've acted, Pelosi continued, repeatedly refusing to commit to sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Now they'll understand what their responsibilities are, and we'll see what that is. She is not the Speaker of the Senate. In 1998, the impeachment of President Bill Clinton, the House sent the charges off to the Senate within minutes. Ding, ding, ding. Bam, they're there. Nancy Pelosi, we have acted. Now they'll understand what their responsibilities are, and we'll see what that is. I have spoken. This is the way. It is the wrong way. This time around, the House may want to hold on to the articles as leverage to extract concessions from Senate Republicans. Extract concessions. That's another word for quid pro quo. That's another name for bribery. That's not bribery. I don't know where they came up with that. It's another name for blackmail. Extortion. And she wants a fair process. That's funny. Or to buy impeachment, or to bury impeachment, as it proves increasingly unpopular among moderates in key battleground states. To bury it. She's burying the United States of America along with it, and she knows it. She doesn't care. Power! Power! Machiavelli was so right. If you haven't read Machiavelli's The Prince, in the introduction he lays out quite clearly, this is what you're supposed to do according to the Bible. Now let's talk about what people actually do. And the older you get, the more you realize Machiavelli's stance. This is what we're supposed to do, and here's what the real world does. Which one do you want to live in? Which one do you want to play in? And you just have to make a choice. Pelosi insisted that Republicans would need to run a fair trial if the matter made its way to the Senate, without explaining what exactly she was seeking, as she extorts this, as she blackmails to get what she thinks is a fair trial, which isn't fair. I don't like the word fair because most people use the word incorrectly, but that's a conversation for a different day. This past March, Pelosi had vowed that the impeachment would need to be a bipartisan effort. In the end, the only bipartisan aspect of the impeachment process was that a handful of Democrats joined the Republicans to oppose it. All Republicans opposed both articles of impeachment. She didn't care. She said she cared. She didn't act on that. Does that make her a liar? I'll let you figure that out. But she said she cared, and then she didn't act on it. And then we get to a whole different ballgame. Good old Tulsi Gabbard, the surfing congresswoman who is so getting kicked out of her party while she's running for president in her party. That's funny. The vote on total abuse of power count was 230 to 197. Do you remember before the 2018 election, the Republicans warned over and over again, if the Democrats take power in the House, they're going to impeach? They took power. They impeached. One of those parties was telling the truth. One wasn't, because the party running saying, oh, we're not going to impeach. No, we just want to get things done. Well, the count's in. They were lying. Shocker. The vote total abuse of power count was 230 to 197, with U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat of Hawaii, voting present. The obstruction vote total was 229 to 198, with Gabbard also voting present on that count. In a statement, Gabbard called for censure resolution instead of impeachment, saying, listen closely, please. My vote today is a vote for much-needed reconciliation and hope that together we can heal the country. I also could not, in good conscience, vote for impeachment because removal of a sitting president must not be the culmination of a partisan process fueled by tribal animosities that have so gravely divided our country. When I cast my vote in support of the impeachment inquiry nearly 3 months ago, I said that in order to maintain the integrity of this solemn undertaking, it must not be a partisan endeavor. Tragically, that's what it has been. Pelosi said it and didn't act on it. Tulsi said it, and she did act on it. This is probably, I can't speak because I'm not in that party. This is probably why she's getting kicked out of the party. What are you doing? What are you doing, Tulsi? You said you were going to do this, and now you're doing it? You're a Democrat. Pay attention to the Speaker of the House. Oh, sorry, Speaker of the Senate as well now. We don't act that way around here. We tell the voters one thing, and we do another. Get on board, and I don't mean surfboard, or get out. Ah, Tulsi. Tim Pool wants her to join up desperately with Trump in the House as one of the secretaries. It was normal for presidents to accept secretaries that were from the other party until Obama did it in his first term, but he didn't in the second term, to the best of my knowledge. If you can think of one, you can put it in the comments. So it would be really good to have her over there. I don't know if she'll do, well, she doesn't have a job in a few more months, so maybe, well, I guess it's about a year before she loses her job, because she's not running for Senate again. Debate on the articles broke down into a shouting match early in the afternoon when House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, Democrat of New York, accused a GOP congressman of spouting Russian propaganda on the floor of the House. Nadler's unsubstantiated remark drew an immediate rebuke from its target, U.S. Representative Louis Gohmert, Republican of Texas, who returned to the floor to shout at Nadler, even as his microphone was turned off and he was not recognized to speak. How did he say it again? They did it.
Damn you all!
Yep, they did it. They really did it. He was right. Gohmert had been arguing that the Democratic partisan impeachment effort meant that the country's end is now in sight and that he hopes he doesn't live to see it. No House Republicans supported the impeachment. That is a serious issue now. Democrats tried to impeach, or were in the process of impeaching, Nixon for crimes that were established, which were nothing compared to what the Horowitz report showed against Trump. Do the history, look it up yourself, and you will discover, OMG, wow, it's unbelievable what Obama did to Trump compared to what Nixon did to whoever he was running against. And then the Republicans, again with established crimes, went after Clinton. And now the Democrats have won. It's like this tit for tat is just, you can't run a government like this. And they've lowered, this particular one has lowered the bar to one house, one party. That's all you need. You don't even have to state the laws. You can just say something as vague as obstruction of justice and abuse of power and not even have to define what that is or even agree. It's not good. It really could be the end of the republic. They really could have done it. We'll have to see. This, wow, they really did it. They really blew it up. At the outset of the proceedings, Pelosi claimed Democrats have no choice but to impeach the president, and that they were in reality quite saddened. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Despite Pelosi's claim, photographs emerged, apparently showing Democrat staffers partying on Capitol Hill as the impeachment debate went on. Remember, Tulsi, we say one thing and do another. Despite Pelosi's claim, photographs emerged apparently showing Democrat staffers partying on Capitol Hill. You cannot stay a Democrat, Tulsi. You don't understand how this works. After the first article of impeachment was adopted, Pelosi had to signal to some Democrats to stop clapping. One Democrat yelled, "Yay!" but covered his mouth when he realized he was the only one. Do you understand, Tulsi? You do not tell Democrat constituents what you stand for and then do it. We will have the speaker signal to you to stop doing that. Good old Tulsi. Gonna miss her in Congress. I liked her ever since she stood up to Obama when it came to the war stuff. Because, you know, Tulsi actually serves in the military then and to this day. I have a lot of respect for her. I think in regards to her spending, she may be in the Army, but she's a drunken sailor when it comes to the spending. But sadly, who in Congress isn't anymore? They just passed a $1.4 trillion deficit spending bill for next year. Barely got any news. We can just spend and spend and spend. We're $22 trillion in debt. Closer to 23 now. Nobody cares. I care. I'm a nobody. That's how that works. All right, there's your update on Tulsi, Pelosi, impeachment, and the Planet of the Apes.